Hi and welcome to Just Jane Designs Make a Template with Serif CraftArtist Professional. This is a really quick tutorial on how to make a basic template, but it will help you get going with making all your own templates for your card making and your box making and those kind of things. I don't know about you, but I use templates all the time for gift boxes and cards that I make, so it's really nice to have the ability to make templates that I can just use over and over again. And Serif CraftArtist Professional makes that really easy, so let's get started. Start with a new blank project and let's do A4 landscape. I'm not going to use a digikit at this point. Okay, just make my page a little bit smaller so I can work all around the edges. The first thing that we need to do is add a few extra layers. This is the only way to make a template, is to work with lots of layers. Serif CraftArtist automatically gives you two layers when you open it up, a background layer and layer 1, and the active layer is always layer 1. Background layer is treated exactly like that, as a background. So let's add a couple of layers. We're just going to use 3 for this particular project. I'm going to label this one the guides layer, and this will be where I'll put all my lines that I need, like the fold lines, the lines that I need to have printed out on my sheet when I do my printing out. And the layer 3 I'm going to call overlay. You can call it whatever you like, but this is basically the template section. And this is the layer that we're going to do all the work on today, or most of the work on today. So first of all, let's go to the background layer, and I'm just going to add a little rectangle on there that's going to be grey. That's just going to make it easier for us to see what we've done at the end. So let's just colour it grey. Here we go. Don't worry about the outside line because we're not going to see it anyway. And now we'll get on with the main body of what we're going to do. Now the basics of what we're going to do today is I'm just going to do a really basic template for a wrap to go around a sweetie bag. But the basics of what we're going to do today is we are going to put a big a rectangular overlay over the page so that you can only see the bit where the template on the top sheet. So not explaining myself very well, but if you bear with me, it'll all come together. So the first thing we're going to do is draw our rectangular shape. So click on the shapes button up here, draw your shape. We can change the sizes of it in a minute. First of all, I'm going to change the colours just to make it easier to see. And I happen to know that the size I want is 26 centimeters by 8 centimeters. So I'm going to click on the Transform tab at the bottom here. This is such a great feature of all of Serif's programs when you're working with shapes. You just come down here and you can choose your dimensions, but the first thing I do need to do is change to so that I'm working in centimeters, because all my measurements are in centimeters. So let's go up to Tools, Options, and in the Options menu we've got a load of options, but we're going to go to the Layout one, and here our ruler units are currently in inches and we're going to change them to centimeters. There's all sorts of options for you here, but we'll just work with centimeters. So now you can see that I'm working in centimeters. All my rulers are in centimeters. Okay, so let's change the size of my rectangle. Now I don't want it locked. If I click on that, it will lock the dimensions. So if I change this one, that one will change in proportion to it. Don't want to do that because I know what my measurements are. So I'm going to change that to 26, and I'm going to change this one to 8. Right, and I'm going to put a little curve on my shape. You can do that using this little toggle here, or you can do it up here in the radius of corners box. It's always a good idea to look up here actually, because there's lots of exciting things going on up there depending on what you're doing. Let's deselect my nodes, and so now I have my basic shape. I just want to make sure that that shape is centrally aligned in the page. So I've gone to my Align tab, I have centered it horizontally, and I'm going to center it vertically. And that is now right in the center of my page. And that's my basic shape. Now, I always work my guides onto my basic shape before I turn it into my overlay. That's up to you, but I'm just going to whiz through that now before we go any further. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time explaining it. I'm just going to do it so that you can have a quick idea of what's going on. But basically this wrap is going to have a 3 centimeter foot, if you like, that it's going to sit on, and a 2 centimeter wrap at the top. So I need to put a fold line here, a fold line here, and a fold line there, and then 2 little circular punch outs. So without further ado, we'll get started. So I'm going to draw a line which is going to be a measurement line, and I know that that is going to be 10.5 centimeters. I'm going to change the colour on it so it's easier to see. Just so that you can see, there it is. Okay, I'm going to reselect that. I'm going to copy it and paste it and make my second measurement line, which is going to be 3 centimeters for the middle. Move him, and then I'm going to make a third line, which I'm going to turn into a dotted line by clicking on the line tab at the top here and choosing the dashes. I want it to be a dotted line, and I want that one to be 8 centimeters. So there we go. Okay, so the first line, as I said, is going to be there. I know that it's going to be 10.5 centimeters inside here, so I'm going to click on that, click on my shape, and then align the two. It's really important the order that you align, that you select these in when you're doing alignments. It's always the last object you select that everything else will align to. So this one, I'm going to align it into the center and to the right. I'm not going to use this line later, I'm just using it as a guide for now. Then I'm going to select this one. I want to move that in up, right, 90 degrees, and there's a really quick way to do it. Go to Arrange, click on this little rotate button here, choose 90 degrees, and there it is. Now I'm going to align this line with this one. Align tab, click it, and I'll never get this right the first time. Yeah. Align left. Okay, there it goes. Now this is going to be the bottom of my box, so I'm going to use my little guide there. Line left, center it. The last line that I copied was my dotted line, so I know I can paste. Oh no, it wasn't. I need to copy and paste my dotted line, and I'm going to put it at the end of this one. And align it like that. Okay, take this line, align it to that one. The last line that I copied was the dotted line, so if I just hit the paste button, there it is again. This one is going to go over there, or not, as the case may be. Doesn't really matter if you make a mistake when you're clicking on those, because you just move things around in relation to each other, so you can always undo what you've done if you do it wrong. Right, but I now have my 3 dotted lines. I'm going to get rid of my measurement guides because I don't need those anymore, and I am going to group these 3. Now, the thing here that I'm always a bit wary of, particularly when I'm making templates that are complicated, is not to touch these lines, because it's very easy to just nudge them out of place. So I'll do it from the Layers tab and select them there. Select the top one, hit your Shift button, select the bottom one and group them together. Now I also don't want my guides on this page, so again from my layers tab I'm just going to drag them down to my guides page. But notice that the reason I did my guides on the overlay layer is so that I can align everything up to my shape before I turn it into the template. Just going to go to my guides page and turn that group. See how it's changed colour to a red outline now because we're on the guides page. I'm just going to change the colour of those and you'll see why in a minute. Now back to my overlay page, and what we're going to do is combine this rectangle with another rectangle so that we have a white space on around the outside and a grey space on the inside, which is basically just a hole. This shape is going to become a hole. So let's do our rectangle around the outside of the page. It's going to be white, and we want to make sure that that one is at the back of this layer. So there are two ways you can do that. You can either click and drag it down, or you can go to the Arrange tab and send it to the back. Then you need to make sure that you click, let's deselect. Now we want to select these two rectangles. So select that one, select that one. See, we've got the two selected, and we're just going to, still on the Arrange tab, use this special Combine button. There's lots of things you can do with these tabs here, but we're going to use the Combine. It's going to combine the two shapes together and leave us with a hole in the middle of our white triangle. And through that hole you can see the guides that we've got on the second layer. But that's not my rectangle. So your overlay layer is really the important one. It's kind of the one that makes life so much easier. This is what you see when you print, if you like. So it's really important that you lock that. Once you have everything on it that you want, maybe you'd like to put some text on it. I don't know. Lolly bag wrap so that you know what it is. Make it bigger. Change the typeface and line that centrally. Lock that layer by clicking on the little lock there. Oh, what's happened now? Don't know what happened there. That shouldn't. Oh, there we go. Lock. Don't know what happened there. Sometimes CraftArtist is a bit temperamental. Okay, and then we've got our guides, and we're going to lock that one as well, so that when you've saved it and you open it the next time, this is the layer that you open it onto. Layer 1. Okay. So just to show you that it does work, she says, hopefully, I'm just going to add a quick background from my DigiKits. That one will do. And there you go. So you drag your background across and there's your lolly bag template. Oh, and you might want to add some little punch holes on there, but basically that's a very quick way to make your template. And the crucial item is the overlay item, which you need to make your template. But it saves so much time. So I hope I've gone some way to making it a little clearer for you and helping you make your crafting a little bit easier. Okay, thank you very much for listening.